Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Genesis, the 7th chapter, the flood. And in the 6th chapter, we saw the cause, right? What led the Lord to decide to bring this flood, and the grace that Noah ends up finding in the eyes of the Lord, and also the preparation the Lord has Noah make in order to survive this flood. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Noah, Come thou, and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteousness before me in this generation. So of all people in this generation, I see you, all right, you have been righteous in here. Therefore, I'm having this mercy on you. Of every beast, or every clean beast, thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female. And of beasts that are not clean, by two, the male and his female. So, i.e., pairs, okay? 7 pairs of clean, 2 pairs of unclean. Of fowls also, and eventually, right, we eat meat now, right? So eventually went from being herbivores to now omnivores, right? And so if he took only 2 clean animals, eventually when man started to eat meat, what would happen if those 2 that are needed to keep the species alive are now turned into roasted lamb? That's a joke. But anyway, the Lord instructs him to take more of the clean and 2 pairs of the unclean. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. There you go. That's the seed, is the seed in them to procreate in order to preserve that species. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So meaning within 7 days, right, you have, let me just put it like this. You have a week until I bring the flood. And 40 days and 40 nights are specified here because it was to signify it's a total duration of 40 days. But the Lord is saying here it's going to be constant day and night that it's going to be raining. All right, that the flood is going to be rising here, to leave no room for ambiguity, right? In case, well, did it only rain in the daytime? What about the nighttime? No. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according to all that the Lord Yahweh commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth, and now it began to rain. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. So you had water that started to rise from the ocean, and you had water. So you had water that started to rise, right? And you had water, coming down, rain, right? That was coming down. And at this point, this was now like you can imagine people panicking now, right? As this flood is now starting to come upon the earth, and now it's just Noah and his family that are going to be safe. So you already know where people were trying to run to. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. So their house, their all the stuff they had, that was that was gone somewhere. All right, and they all went into the ark. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. So the Lord sealed the door behind Noah, and that means nobody else could come in here. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark. Because remember here, right, that Noah was told to use pitch on the inside and the outside of the ark, so that it wouldn't, so it would be waterproof, right? But for the door, once you close the door, you still have to, in order for a door to open and close, there has to be space around it, right? From it and the wall, or, the rest of the, in this case, the wall, where it was cut out from. So once he went in there, the Lord had to seal it so that no water could get in. Okay. So in any case, he's in here, right? And now the flood is coming, and you can imagine, right? Shit, the sound. Sometimes you hear heavy rain, and it's just like, it's a lot. It's maybe windy at this point, but knowing what the Lord said he was going to do and then seeing it, that's a whole nother kind of destruction. Verse 17, and the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. So now, as the water started to increase more and more and more, it started to eventually get so high that it lifted up the ark. Now, this ark must have been very heavy. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth. And the ark went upon the face of the waters. So now the ark is floating on the water, as everything else underneath it is covered. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. And there's a there's a good chance that it was at this point that land, because remember in the book of Genesis, the first chapter, they said, let the dry land appear, because at one point everything was one land, one big land. But it's possible that at this point is when you had that breaking up of the land. So after during the destruction of the flood, hence after the flood you had, well, at least what they called it was Pangea, right? But now you had the continents that you have today, which were like broken up. And that's why you can see how they look like puzzle pieces that fit together. So verse 19, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. So that's the mountains and all of that. All of them were covered. That's how high the waters rose. Because this is 40 days and 40 nights continually, everywhere. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth. That's men, women, children, old ladies, pregnant women, whatever forms of creeping things, reptiles, anything that wasn't on the ark, and it's not like a sea creature, was dead. Because it drowned. Both of fowl, and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died, because they needed air. And no matter how good of a swimmer you are, you can't survive this kind of flood. And every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. Now, can you imagine that? Damn. We're the only ones on here. and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So in the second month of Noah's 600 year, was it the 17th day of the month? The flood begins, right? And it's constant water rising, consistently raining for 40 days. And then, as it says here, it basically remains flooded at the top without abating, without going down, just flooded for, as it says, it prevailed for 150 days. That's a long time. What is that? How many months is 150 days? Close to 5 months. So they were in there for a while. And that brings us to the end of the book of Genesis, the 7th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.